everyone. It has come to my attention that reading and writing are going out of fashion. It's just not happening anymore. You hardly see it. This pains me to see, because even though with my pain, holding a book, or a pen for that matter, can be very painful, the idea of no one enjoying these anymore is a bit of a shock to the bones. And I'm not going to sit here and say, back in my day, we didn't have all these text messages. Because obviously, we did. They were new when I was young, and they cost you per text. But we had them. However, I never knew I'd see the day when reading and writing would become obsolete, a thing of the past. I love carrying pads of paper and writing, or physical books and reading them, because there is just something about having something that can't be taken away from you. Also, who here knows that lovely book smell that just doesn't hit the same from an iPad? I'm from the 90s, and so growing up in the noughties, we had physical media like cassettes, VHS tapes, CDs and DVDs, along with their respective media players. These four things had one thing in common. If you play a disc or a cassette of any kind, you have complete privacy. The only people who knew you bought the media are the people who you bought it from at the shop. No database, no cloud storage for every time you watch and where you paused last. Also, because it was physical media, it meant you still had it, even if the company went bust. Can you say the same about today? As much as I love the internet, we're losing our privacy bit by bit. I keep a physical copy of most things, including passwords. You can't hack something that's not in the online database. Obviously, there's the original hacking, which includes breaking a lock and key system. Another thing I like about offline stuff is paying in cash. Apart from the cash point or cameras around that area, the only things tracked were the numbers on the notes. The only data about Jack was his profile at the vet. This made sense as they're a medical business, which saves you from carrying heavy folders around and going, "This is all my dog's medical history. This is all my cat's medical history. This is Sylvia's medical history up to her death." Those situations made sense. It's easier to let your doctors have a database to help you quickly, and my medical file was huge. So just before they went over to digital, I actually saw my file. I'm glad they moved over to digital, as I don't think they'd have been able to hold on to it much longer. When it comes to doctors, you want them to have all your details. However, everything being online poses risks. What happens if the Wi-Fi or even the electricity is cut off? It's unlikely it would happen everywhere, but what if? At least if there are physical copies somewhere, then you can still get help. But also, if physical files get burnt, you have electrical ones. But getting back on topic, no one does offline stuff for entertainment anymore. I wish to change that. The other day, I was looking to see if you could find old media players on Amazon. You can. So if you want to keep something and own something for once, you can try that. You might have to get an old fogey like me to explain how the media works, though. It's one way to have the ability to watch things privately again. Because while we sit in our bedrooms, doors shut, and we record, we don't really have privacy anymore. And yes, there will be an online footprint of you buying things for offline usage. But it means you can watch things without someone tracking you. And you can get to keep it even if the people who sold you the tape go out of business. You can even use it when the Wi-Fi goes away. You can even take the recording device around to a friend's house and watch it there. If you have problems with your electricity or your Wi-Fi, which could happen if your servers went down. We really don't realise how lucky we are to have everything at our fingertips. But just as easily as it can be given to us, it can also be taken from us. No one can run into our house and take physical media, and if they do, it would be considered burglary. But online media can be changed, and that is apparently okay. Also, what causes more damage to the planet is a question I think we all need to figure out. Is it more dangerous to the planet to chop down trees to make physical newspapers, or is it more damaging to the planet to have the internet and have the newspapers online where everyone's tracking everything you read and watch? I remember watching a video from Cyberboy's second channel, who said it's not that anyone has anything that they're doing wrong, but everyone has something that they want to hide because that's called privacy. Also, I'm not saying that the internet is bad, but just keep in mind that for anyone who writes online diaries, anything can be hacked. I prefer to be able to burn my secrets if there's a risk of them being exposed than having them on a database where everyone could see them. And yes, I know I've heard the saying that you shouldn't put on the internet what you wouldn't want to wear on a t-shirt. But again, I don't feel that's completely true. We should be able to write down our secret thoughts because people use that as therapy. Just make sure that you have full control over it. I think the best way to do that is not to be on someone else's servers. A point has been made that privacy is rare, but it's also been widely accepted that we're losing it, even if we don't like it. So maybe if we don't accept it and we start doing things to show that we don't like it, maybe less liberties will be taken. We may even be able to get some privacy back. And listen, I love audiobooks. I use them because of my arthritic pain, but I recently found out that a lot of Roald Dahl's books have been edited because of the language that he used, and he actually said not to do that to his stuff. If I put a book out and people don't like what I say, then they change my wording, I'm going to be so mad, even if it's 1,000 years in the future, because who are you to change my voice? This book I'm writing is not for children. There are going to be hard topics in it. I don't expect anyone to change how I want things to be said, because it's my book. If you don't like it, write your own. You don't need to change my voice, just don't listen to my voice and change your own. Write your own. Challenge my book if you want, but don't change my speech. Is that not just the same as what they do in countries where you're not allowed to speak your opinion? This is a first world country, and I don't care if I'm a compost heap. I will know if you change my words, and I will not tolerate it. However, returning to audiobooks, don't get lazy and just use audiobooks. Try to read a physical copy, or just try to read something for yourself. That's what I do every month. I listen to an audiobook, then I get a book for myself and I read it. And it will trigger my imagination, because one thing that apparently is a failing commodity these days is imagination. I saw a video that said that kids don't know how to be bored these days. And then, unless you give them a tablet, they have no idea what to do and they start panicking. That is shameful. Even if my mum took my stuff away from me when I was younger, I still had other things I could do. We cannot be so dependent on these tiny screens, which could be affecting our health, and we're not sure yet. As I've said before, you do not get a migraine from staring at a white piece of paper for 4 hours. You could put your eyes right on the paper and you will not get any problems. But if you try doing the same to a screen, you will have a problem. People can get migraines from being on their screens too much, but you can't get migraines from staring at multiple blank pieces of paper. Or can you? And if the white paper is too bright, go and sit in the shade and it will be slightly darker. That's the offline version of night mode. Oh, and the final shock to my system is that the younger generations don't even know how to read and write. It's one thing not wanting to use it as entertainment, but not knowing by the age of 10 how to read and write in a country that basically forces you to get an education. And it's not that you're mentally delayed, you're just so used to screens that it's easier to just do nothing and say you just don't take any information in. We cannot get to that point, because how will we be able to work? We'll have a whole generation of people who just can't do anything and can't pay attention. What will they do? Go work in cinemas where they have to control screens? Oh, and something else I found out. Writing actually has an effect on your brain. I actually said this in my last video, but scientifically, shaping letters, writing the letters A, B, C, teaches you something that you would not be able to do. It opens synapses that can only be opened by writing that you cannot get from a keyboard or a typewriter because it's a repetitive motion. It probably has the same understanding in your brain as picking your nose. Repetitive actions are different, but you get a pen and write a letter, your brain will remember that movement and it will become second nature. I mean, it will be the same with touch typing, but it's different and actually more beneficial. We're going to get to the point where cavemen who actually used to write and draw on rocks would have been more intellectual purely because they knew how to write, and just because you don't understand the language, Fred and Wilma would have more intelligence than today's generation. This can't be, and it has to change. I decided to make this video, funnily enough, because I saw how Louis Rossmann did a video on privacy and the Clippy videos. It woke me up to the fact that basically everything is digital now, and if it's not, it will be. From smart hoovers to smart washing machines to AI everywhere. All of these things can be useful, but you can wear any good thing out if you overuse it. If there's anything that you don't think can be worn out, put it in the comments. Let's have a discussion about this. I think the only way to change the amount of privacy we get and the way to get things changed, even if we don't want to, is if we say and do something. It may not work, but it's definitely not going to work if we don't say something. To try and deal with this a little bit, let's see how many things we can make analog again. Maybe instead of putting a shopping list on your phone, write it down on a piece of paper. Or if these are things that you will dispose of later, it doesn't matter. Maybe find something else. Maybe read a physical book instead of reading it from a screen. The only reason I'm writing my novel online is because it's the only way it will get published. Going back to the piece of paper, the worst thing that you would probably die of is boredom. Also, who here has forgotten how to spell things and so automatically goes to spell check and doesn't even think about it? Or who here has no idea who any of the phone numbers in their phone book are, but it doesn't matter because everything is online, so who knows? Or who here knows absolutely nothing about their surroundings, but it doesn't matter because everything's online? Do any of these affect you? Let me know. Also, think about this. I do understand that there will be people who literally can't do this because maybe they don't have enough space to keep a lot of paper things, so that's why they're very digital. Also, anyone who moves into a small house and has to be very digital but has to wait for their Wi-Fi to set in, what do you do then? Rely on your 4G? I really hope that it is strong enough for you. If you're still here, then you're handsome and you're beautiful and you, well, I'm speechless. I'll let you know next time I see you. Over to the pets. Hello all, this is Sylvie. If you liked what you saw, then subscribe for more. Hey everyone, my name's Bonjour. If you enjoyed yourself, then give it a thumbs up and share it with all your friends. Hi everybody, I'm Jack, and if you had fun, then comment down below and let my mum know what the earliest form of media you remember using is.